This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. Every week we talk about interesting things going on in the community. And today we are talking, Katie Huckle, about something that's going on today at the North End Market in Cadillac. We have a group of authors who are gathered together, people who enjoy writing, and they're all going to be in one place. And you don't really get a one-stop shop for authors all that often here.
Right.
So the two ladies who are here to talk about it are Tracy Logan, the director of the Cadillac Wexford Public Library. Good morning, Tracy.
Hello.
And Tereesa Arn, who was here just a few weeks ago on a different topic. She is the manager of Horizon Books in Cadillac. Good morning,
Hello,
ladies.
good morning.
How are you?
Doing fancy. How are you?
Good. All right, so whose idea was it to get all of these authors under one roof?
It was a collaborative, but I have to say Vicki Long was the driver behind the project.
Okay.
And can you tell us what type of an audience are you looking for? Is it open to everybody? Is everybody welcome?
Of course. Book lovers from the public, aspiring writers. This is going to be a celebration of the written word.
Ooh, and who better to talk about it than these two gals?
Yeah. So we did something I wasn't supposed to do. We talk about this all the time. Mm-hmm. I asked a question that I was not supposed to ask, but you do not know the answer to this question because you were a little later than I was getting to this taping. So how many authors will be gathered at this event, local authors?
47.
What?
I'm sorry. That was the reaction I expected.
I'm sorry, but I didn't know we had 47 local authors.
That was my reaction, too. Yeah.
These are published authors?
Yeah, absolutely. These are people who have produced books. They have them in print. They are ready to go. It's such a wide variety of people. It's really interesting. It's kids' books, it's fantasy books, it's historical fiction, it's nonfiction, it's history. Pretty much anything that someone is interested in, someone is representing.
Okay, so can we talk about content? What will happen at the author's workshop or can you tell us, do we get, if I'm in the audience, do I get to ask questions?
Obviously, the authors are going to be selling their books. So you can speak to the individual authors. You can talk to them about their works, about their process.
Okay.
We are also doing a speaker series about topics that are of interest to writers. Mm-hmm. That is available for everybody for free. We are also doing a community journaling project. There are local organizations who represent an interest in literacy in our community, like Up North Arts, who do writing workshops, like the bookstore, who sell local authors. All sorts of things. Okay.
And so you're sort of highlighting each author and they'll be standing behind their books. And so you can kind of mill around and see the different genres and then buy books if you're interested or ask questions if you're interested or maybe sign up for these workshops and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the plan.
Tell me about how this compares to, because I know the Traverse City Writers Series is a big thing in Traverse City. How does this compare to that? Is this just kind of a smaller version of that, or?
So this is a much smaller scale to that. The National Writer Series obviously focuses on one major author, been published, kind of a big name. This is more locally, smaller, might not have been. Most of them have not been picked up by a larger publishing company. A lot of them will be actually independently published.
Okay. So I want to know, because both of you talk to readers, meet with readers, see readers on a daily basis. And for someone, let's say someone is just looking to start reading. And how do you lead them to a series or to an author or to a topic or to a book in both of your roles? Because, one of you is more into retail and then one of you is the director of the local library. But both of you, I know, get asked about books. So are you interviewing people when they ask you?
I think the first question I ask is, what do they like?
Okay.
What's your interest? Especially, because we're trying to engage kids, how do you get a child engaged? Well, maybe they love sports. Well, there's a ton of books out there that have sports in it, and we're not going to put, dragons or something in front of them. So I think it's finding what their interest is and then going from there. Tracy.
I would absolutely agree with that. In the library, we do something we call the reference interview, which is just basically a conversation about that exact topic. Like, let's start with asking people about what media they're interested in. Like, what kind of movies do you like? If you're trying to hone in on what fiction someone's interested in, do you like horror then we'll get you a horror book. Do you like sci-fi? We can get you a sci-fi.
Okay. For parents and grandparents that want to introduce children to reading, how do you go about that without it being a hard sell or pushy? I'm asking for a friend.
No, I listen. I totally get it.
That's my number one question.
I'm in the classroom with 16 to 18-year-olds every day, and I've got to tell you, I see more and more kids reading now than in recent years. And you're both nodding right now because you agree with me.
Yeah, my
that's a good
full
thing.
of teenagers.
Okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Good. Okay, so two-pronged question then. Parents and grandparents who want to get their kids into reading, how do you go about that? And then secondly, why this new wave of readers?
Well, can I address how and then you can address why? Okay. When we're talking about how, the first thing is to disregard any ideas you have about what's a good book and what's a bad book. A good book is the book your kid is willing to read. That's a good book. So you start with high interest items. And one of the best places to start for reluctant readers is graphic novels, comic book style books. Sometimes people see them and they say, well, there's not enough words. It's not real reading. It is real reading if your kid is sitting down and reading it, and it's going to get them into the harder stuff later. Let them start where they're happy and they'll do the practice.
Okay, thank you.
That's good. And whatever it takes to get them away from their phones, right? Tereesa?
Well, I was going to say, and so one of the biggest things is our phones because social media is the biggest push. And this is what's, I think, since COVID especially, we've found all of these, say, local writers coming out of the woodwork because they were stuck in home and, what do they have to do? So they started writing. And I think that's when book talk started and all the different TikTok videos and things like that. And so all these authors are pushing their content out there, good, bad, and different. But it's what's kind of led up to an event like this.
So social media, in a way, has had a big part in authors growing their audience.
Huge part.
Okay.
Huge part. Sometimes that's the only way some of them are able to get their content out there. I mean, they're not getting, picked up by Penguin Random House. What's the other way to do it? I mean, what are we doing? We're getting, we're on social media. That's how we advertise. So
it's interesting that you bring that up because back in the day, back when I started in radio, if you were trying to get your music out there, if you weren't getting played on the radio station, you weren't getting noticed. Now, TikTok makes stars, YouTube makes stars, Instagram makes stars. It's very interesting. So, would you say then that the path to getting published is way easier now than it used to be, or is it tougher? Oh,
that's a good one. I'd say because of the outlets out there. I mean, you've got the Nasty A. We talked about this before, but you've got Amazon that makes it so easy for, and then you've got, we use Ingram Spark. We push our authors towards Ingram Spark. But the problem with that is content, the editing. And that's what, your publishers really focus on. And so I think that's sometimes...
Authors have a lot more front-end work that they have to do now that they didn't used to have to do, that publishing houses used to do for them.
Okay.
But now they're responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you, being someone who is very, very passionate about proper grammar and sentence structure and things like that, is that kind of what you're saying is
most definitely.
Books
and you'll
grammar?
see, and it comes across my desk, you'll right there on the front cover will just be, just red flags everywhere. And so, and you might see some of that this weekend, but this is also a learning space for them. So, hopefully that author that's sitting next to them says, hey, you forgot that period there, or you misspelled that word. And so it's a nice peer group. I mean, the authors do get together and they work off of each other, and it is an area for them to grow. But yeah.
Authors who can tell a story aren't necessarily good with grammar.
This is true.
And I've got to tell you, and you guys don't know this, neither do you, but I edited one of the authors who was going to be at this event this weekend. He asked me to check his book for proper grammar and punctuation and things like that, Rick Bartrand. So, and I think he's going to be at that event this week. He's one of the 47. Yeah.
Yes, Rick is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here smiling because I was raised by someone with a master's degree in English, and so there was absolutely zero room for any type of error like that. I mean,
Silently judging your grammar. That's
Yeah,
totally,
that funny-
that's
oh.
my saying all the time.
totally. And I will be honest, I am very reluctant to correct anyone's grammar, because even though that was her job, my mom's job, I cringed when that happened, because if it wasn't a priority in someone else's home, that's a very foreign thing to be corrected on that. It could be that child's parents speak that way. You know what I mean? So I understand it's very black and white. Yeah, but I suppose until it's put in written format, it doesn't get criticized at that level, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So 47 authors, were you seeking certain genres, or did it all fall into place as far as multiple genres being represented at this event?
This is our first year, so we just wanted people, to be honest.
Well, you got people.
Did you expect 47?
No.
Was that your...
No, definitely not.
Okay, what was
and
the
you know
number
what?
you had
and
in
we
mind?
got to the point where we actually turned people. I mean, because they missed the deadline.
Right.
We probably could have gone up to 60, if not more.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a number in mind when this started?
Happily 25.
Okay.
Good job.
Almost doubled then.
Yeah.
Well, so can we talk about our reading community? I mean, Tracy, I'm interested in the health of our library and the traffic at the library. When you compare us to like-sized communities, how is our library doing?
Well, I can tell you that last year in 2023, we saw a footfall of about 115,000 people at our various locations. We circulated over 130,000 physical items. That doesn't include the ebooks and the e-audiobooks that we offer. We hosted over 600 programs. We added over 1,200 new library cards. Our library is doing better every year. We're so lucky to live in this community.
Incredible.
You said locations. There are more libraries underneath the Cadillac Wexford umbrella than just Cadillac, right?
Yes, the Cadillac Wexford Public Library is a county public library. It includes locations in Cadillac, Manton, Meesick, and Buckley.
Okay. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
And so it feels like it's growing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And what do you attribute that to?
Well, part of it is the groundswell in the popularity of reading in general.
Okay.
But also a lot of it has to do with the efforts of our staff to really bring us to new populations. We've been doing a lot of kind of outreach work. Tereesa is a part of that. We do a really great program called Books and Booze at Willow at the greenhouse.
Sure.
We see usually around 50 people a month for that book club, which is
Cool.
just fantastic.
And everybody's drinking Kool-Aid.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a very serious event, Rich. Gee.
Milkshakes and intellectual discussion.
I love it.
Oh,
That
this
might
is
be
just,
a new book club.
this is heartwarming to hear, especially when we get into young people. Can we talk about summer programs for kids coming up?
It's summer reading program coming up. Adventure begins at your library this year. We are visiting locations all around the world as part of our summer reading program. Pick up a activity sheet, read to your dog, do writing, do activities, do fun play activities, and earn free books.
Okay.
You don't have to register. You just need to grab a sheet. You can actually download them off of our website. We try to make it as easy and approachable as possible. And we do summer reading program for all ages. So if you have a newborn, we have a section for them. If you are 120, we have a section for you. There's something for everybody.
Incredible. I have a friend who's kind of a grandma extraordinaire. And I don't want to say she's anti-social media, but she hunts and she shoots beavers and she has her own garden and she has big dogs and her grandkids are with her all summer. And so I said, I'm first of all fascinated by this person because she's like Annie Oakley, you know what I mean? And so I said, how do you keep the kids? Because the kids are doing all these activities with her. And she said they earn time. So and I don't know what the math is on this, but let's say they spend 2 hours in the garden, with her weeding, picking, cleaning vegetables, whatever, that might equate to 30 minutes later in the day, as mom and dad are coming home from work, whatever, on social media or the phone. Yes. And I really like that. It's a very regimented approach. And you know what? They can't wait to go to grandma's house. Isn't that? And reading's part of it too.
So cool.
Yeah, reading's part of it too. So, Tereesa, do you do anything with children in the summer?
We have in the past. We have done, usually we do like one activity, one big fun kid day, and like on a Saturday we try to do an event. A couple years ago we did the Magic Treehouse event, which was a big thing. We've kind of geared back some because the library does such great programming with their kids and stuff like that. So we like to just have them come in and buy the books and read, and then they can report to the library.
Yeah, you guys refer to one another.
We totally work off of one another, and we found it's a great bridge to have. So,
question for you, Tereesa. How long have you been manager of the bookstore locally?
7 years.
7 years. So that went through COVID. What has changed the most in the book selling business since 2017?
You know what? I feel like we're getting more people into the store. They're definitely still want physical books. They want the smell, the ability to browse. I mean, anybody can sit home on their sofa and look through their phone and pick a book out, but to come into a bookstore and actually talk to somebody and find out what the actual recommendations are, or helping the grandmother, or helping the parents find that right book to connect with their kid. I definitely think people are coming in. They're definitely shopping. They definitely want books.
The Kindle,
it's great for travel.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to. It lacks magic.
It does lack magic.
Yeah. I mean, if it spurs reading, great, but the magic is
it gets fingerprints on, and this, your screen gets dirty. I'm like, who wants that?
So, same question for Tracy. How long have you been director at the library?
I've been director at the library for 5 years, but I've been a professional librarian for 20.
Okay. And
oh my goodness.
So, what has changed the most in the library business in that time for you?
In the last 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay. What I would say is actually for us, it's the increase in online usage. We offer ebooks and e-audiobooks for free through different platforms. And we actually have patrons who we never see physically in the library. They are only online users. And that is a very different sphere for us to work in, because how do you connect with someone who is only utilizing you through your website? That's a whole different paradigm that we've had to move into.
And the only way that and you can identify what it is that they like is based on what they buy or what they rent, right?
Yes, what they borrow online.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So, do you know the ages of these folks, or do they have to share it with you?
Well, we do know the difference between kid cards and adult cards. So we do have some sense of what age range we're looking at, but honestly, it's really all over the place, except we don't see that usage in, say, until like high school. We don't see it in middle school kids. We don't see it for us in elementary school kids. It's high school and older.
Okay.
One thing I love about books and libraries is you can get into whatever folks are watching mainstream, whatever they're binge watching on Netflix and this kind of thing. But asking those questions that you both mentioned about what are you interested in, think about literally the library of information that's out there for these kids that they may not be exposed to that in Cadillac or in their homes or in grandma and grandpa's homes. But in the library, magic happens because you can find anything they're interested in, even if no one you know is interested in that. And I think that's, what's your quote that it says something about all you need to know? Can you tell us about it?
It's an Albert Einstein quote, and it's, the only thing you really need to know is the location of the library.
And that's you have that in words on the library itself, don't you?
It's right on the side of the building,
right along Lake Street. You can see that. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when I first started in radio in Minneapolis, along those lines, the station manager, after I totaled the station van, there's a story for you, in downtown Minneapolis, he said to me, Katie, knowledge is power. And I said, yeah. And he said, you should start reading more. I didn't get fired, but close. And so when I got that little recommendation, meaning slow down, and so when I saw that quote imprinted into granite on the library, I thought of Kevin Matheny at Cool 108 Radio and how, knowledge is power, because we know books bring us knowledge. It's such a different level. I mean, can you even read a book and not be focused? I mean, I know we can all watch TV and not be focused, and I know we can listen to Audible and not be focused. But to me, I think there's a different type of focus when you're reading a book. Because why read it if you're not going to? You tell me, Tracy, you're the expert.
There's profound benefits to a regular reading practice that goes above just gaining knowledge. Regular fiction reading encourages people's empathy because it puts you in the footsteps of someone whose world experience is different from yours. It also it relaxes you. Like I read somewhere that reading a book is more relaxing than drinking a cup of tea. Like it lowers your heart rate. Like it releases good chemicals in the brain.
Unless it's Stephen King.
Yeah,
exactly.
We make no promises to horror readers.
Yeah, right.
I need to get my mom's nose in front of a book and away from the news channels.
Oh my goodness, dude. Okay, I met his mother's amazing.
My mother is something else, but she's also 82 and she's angrier than she's ever been. So I need to get her some books.
Okay. Well, these ladies can recommend, the right flavor.
Maybe a musical biography or something like that.
Yeah, well, it was cute. I met her one time. She calls him Richard, by the way, which I've known Rich for a long time, and no one calls him Richard.
She calls me Earl.
Oh, is that middle name?
Middle name.
Okay. Never seen that before on paper. But anyway, she what it was, and I'll make this a quick story, but it was hilarious. It was when the roundabouts had first hit the state of Michigan, and she lives in the Alpena area, correct? And so she was waiting at the roundabout, trying to be a good Samaritan, letting everyone else go, as all the cars behind her were leaning on their horns. And I come walking into the station to get ready to do our show, and I wanted to interview her that day. I wanted her to be the show because she was so entertaining. And she says to Richard, I know why there's a graveyard by the roundabout, because there's going to need to be one for all those drivers that were honking at me. So there was a cemetery right by the roundabout. Anyway, can we please have her on the show?
You want to have her on the show?
I do.
She's coming to town. She's coming to town on the 25th and 26th of April.
Okay.
And so I will tell you, this is an aside from what we're talking about, but one of our students is editing a documentary on Maplewood Tavern, my family tavern, which is celebrating its 100th year this year under fourth generation ownership, which is my cousin's. And we have tons of archival footage. We have pictures. We have 65-year-old concert recordings. And I've told Mom, I don't know any of this stuff. You're going to have to come and help this kid who's doing this. So she will be here the 25th and 26th.
Please let us talk to her. Please send
She's going to tell all my secrets.
Well, that's okay. I have a lot of questions for her, but we'll send her to the library afterwards, and we'll get her nose in some books. But real quick on that subject, last topic on that subject, tell about, isn't it the Guinness Book of World Records longest bartender in your family?
My grandmother, Clarice Grinkovich, is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the longest career as bartender.
How many years?
79 years, from 21 until age 100.
She was the bartender.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
some serious goals right there.
It is true. And what we need to do at some point is write a book and get it on bookshelves in the state of Michigan.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
Someday.
So, and I shared this with Tracy right before we came into the studio, but what do you say when, for instance, you have a child who's reading an author you really don't like? I mean, how do you say, oh, because you're so
We
meaning
just say, oh.
is that a dark author? That's what I tell you. Dark, doom, gloom, scary, psycho.
Something that's inappropriate, age inappropriate as well.
No, it's not age inappropriate. It's scary material
okay.
about, And so I've always been so pro reading, and I'm like, and she's like, here, read this and this and this, and I'm like, eek! I mean, it's scary to me, but
Yeah. So
how do you handle that?
How do you point them in the right direction?
Yeah, or what I think might be. Yeah.
I guess that's a discussion that comes twofold.
Okay.
First of all, when your child is reading something that maybe makes you a little uncomfortable, that's an opportunity for you to reinforce your family's values.
Okay.
And to say, hey, when I'm reading, what I'm reading here concerns me because this is not something that our family believes. This is our value. This is something that I would prefer this was handled in this way because that's what we believe.
Okay.
The other thing is it's a chance for you to ask your child, what is it about this idea that appeals to you? Mm-hmm. This is a chance for you to connect on a deeper level with your kid and get into their head,
Mm-hmm.
like explain to me why you like this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the author's a bestseller, so it's telling the story. It's just a popular genre right now and a popular author. But some of the things that the author introduces are alarming to me. It's like, okay, how could someone even think of this? You know what I mean? But then maybe I'm, a little
and
naive.
It's a growing genre.
Is it? Okay.
It's a growing, and it's kind of it is. Why is this happening so much more? But I think people are starting to become more aware of trauma and different, and that writing helps them. And so I always think they can find a connection with some authors, and it is, it's a fine line between what we think is icky and censorship. And that's not our job. We're not here to censor. Banned books are such a big thing right now.
Yes.
And challenge books are, we're lucky we haven't had a lot of it up here, but all through the country. I mean,
that's scary. Isn't
it is very scary because I don't think what you read should dictate how I feel,
It is.
So
it is. And this is someone who's old enough to certainly, choose their own way, not a small child. But I also look at television content with your CSIs and with your, all these, not murder shows, but what are they? I don't watch a lot of television.
True crime?
True crime.
Yeah.
My wife watches this. She knows 27 different ways to knock me off.
Oh, great. See, this is what I mean. It's dark to me. This is the kind of stuff I don't want to know about.
Well, and it's interesting because you don't want to be reading a book that's going to keep you up at night, right? But I mean, and I don't know how these shows. My wife can go to sleep after them.
Right. I watched Dateline the other night, and I still can't go to sleep. I mean, no, I'm not kidding. So yeah. We digress.
True crime is true crime big in the book world.
Oh boy, they're
because on TV it is.
Yes.
I feel like you see waves of things. Like right now, romantasy is the big thing. True crime was before COVID. I think COVID changed the whole. It did make it reality.
Reach out and touch.
Exactly. But I think romantasy now is the new. That's definitely new. The new tag.
Oh, I'm really happy to hear that.
So let's circle back to the event today at North End Market. First of all, I'd like to say Christy Gingrich is in charge of the North End Market, and she's got something really cool going on there.
It's a great venue.
Every weekend, every Friday and Saturday. And that is where this is. This is not at the library. It's at the former JCPenney building, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
You did that for room purposes?
Well, again, I'm going to put it back on Vicki Long. She has been the workhorse behind this whole event. She's the one that's been reaching out to the authors, been emailing them, been, getting the venue in place and stuff like that. And, it's just kind of her child, and we get to, go talk about it, but she's definitely the one that's done a lot of the work behind it. And it is a great venue. They've done such a fantastic job of setting up this location, and it just kind of worked. I mean, it was...
And with 47 authors, it turned out that we really did need that much space.
Yeah, right.
Incredible. To do something the first time and have it be this successful, congratulations, ladies.
Is there a thought that you're going to do it again next year? Hopefully.
I think we definitely will be doing it again in the future. It's just a question of, do we do it once a year or every other year, probably.
Okay. All right, because it's a big thing to bite off. So yeah. 47 authors in under one roof. So the time, what time is it today?
10 a.m. till 3 p.m.
Okay, so it's about 9 o'clock right now. So you got about an hour to get yourself together and get down to the North End Market.
Come out and meet some of Cadillac superstars, our artists, our authors.
Are they all are they Cadillac area authors? Are there some regional folks or?
Mostly they're from Northern Michigan.
Okay.
A large portion of them are from Cadillac. We do have some people who came from downstate even.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that. Ladies, thank you for coming in and talking about this and indulging our non-library stories too. Tereesa Arn and Tracy Logan, our guests this morning on Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY, sponsored by Independent Bank. Join us next week, same time, same station, for some more local chat here on 107.